They say beauty is pain. But today, beauty has become an obsession, a quiet addiction dressed in confidence and validation. We live in a world where the mirror doesn't just reflect us, it negotiates with us. Every reflection asks a question. Are you enough? And if you scroll long enough, the answer starts to sound like no. Because everywhere you look, someone looks better, tighter, younger. It used to be makeup. Then came filters. Now it's surgery, precision tools carving not just faces but identities. This is not just vanity. This is survival in a culture that punishes imperfection. Before we dive deeper, remember, addiction doesn't always come in pills or bottles. Sometimes it comes in mirrors and scalpels. Welcome to the age of synthetic confidence. Welcome to the plastic trap. You wake up, walk to the mirror, and before you even blink, your brain starts scanning for flaws. A pimple, a wrinkle, a line that wasn't there yesterday. That tiny imperfection becomes the loudest voice in the room. And somewhere in that moment, your worth feels negotiable. We used to check mirrors to see if we looked okay. Now we check to see if we look like someone else. Filters were supposed to be fun, just little edits, just touch-ups. But over time, those edits became expectations. You look at yourself and think, if only I looked like my filtered version. That's where the trap begins. It doesn't start in the clinic, it starts in the mind. In the quiet war between who you are and who the algorithm says you should be. Every day, millions open their cameras and swipe right through their self-esteem. Not because they hate themselves, but because they've forgotten what real even looks like. Psychologists call it body dysmorphic disorder, when your brain magnifies flaws that others don't see. A tiny bump on your nose becomes a mountain. A faint wrinkle becomes a crater. Your perception turns into your prison. And plastic surgery becomes the key you keep turning, hoping it unlocks freedom. Studies show that dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, spikes after a cosmetic enhancement. You feel a rush, a temporary high. But when that high fades, the mind begins craving the next fix. It's the same chemical cycle that drives gambling, shopping, or even substance addiction. Except here, the currency is your face. And the withdrawals are visible. Social media amplifies this loop. Every scroll is a reminder of what you should look like. Perfect skin, sculpted jawlines, eyes like porcelain. It's not even human anymore. It's digital perfection printed onto flesh. The scary part? Your brain starts adjusting its baseline of beauty to those artificial images. Before long, normal doesn't look good enough. Natural doesn't feel beautiful anymore. Chapter 3. The social pressure machine. We don't just want to be beautiful. We want to be approved. And in the economy of attention, beauty is currency. The influencers post, "I did this for me." But brands whisper behind the scenes, "Do it for the engagement." Every like is a transaction. Every heart reacts to a face that's been fine-tuned to sell. You can't compete with a filtered world and expect to feel whole. Because when comparison becomes culture, contentment becomes rebellion. The beauty industry is a multi-billion-dollar empire built on one product, insecurity. They invent flaws to sell fixes. First it was pores, then smile lines, then aging itself. Now it's preventative Botox for people barely out of college. We've made self-maintenance a lifestyle and self-rejection a trend. You're told, if you love yourself, invest in yourself. But love isn't supposed to hurt. Love isn't supposed to numb. This machine feeds on your self-doubt. The more you question yourself, the more you spend. And the moment you feel whole, it shows you someone better. That's how the cycle survives. By convincing you that confidence is always one procedure away. Behind every success post, "I finally feel beautiful," there's often a darker story untold. Some go in for a lift and come out chasing perfection. It's not greed. It's emptiness disguised as ambition. They say just one more, just a little fix. But a little becomes again, and again becomes always. Plastic surgeons around the world report seeing the same faces returning, not for correction, but for control. Control over a body they've been taught to hate. And then there's the regret, the quiet heartbreak of those who can't recognize themselves anymore. Some wake up from anesthesia in tears, not from pain, but realization. Realization that they've gone too far, and there's no undo button in real life. When your self-image becomes an ongoing construction site, you never get to rest. You keep rebuilding, repainting, redefining. But every time the knife cuts, it also carves away a piece of who you were. Until the reflection becomes a stranger you're obligated to maintain. Most people think addiction is about pleasure. But plastic surgery addiction is about pain, emotional pain disguised as pursuit of beauty. It often starts young, childhood teasing, parental pressure, social rejection. Those tiny wounds plant seeds of self-doubt that bloom into lifelong insecurity. When you grow up hearing you'd be prettier if, you start believing you're a project, not a person. So when society offers tools to fix you, it feels like relief. You think, this will finally make me feel seen. But validation doesn't heal wounds. It only silences them for a while. Experts call it aesthetic identity disorder, when your sense of self becomes dependent on your appearance. You stop asking, who am I, and start asking, what do I look like? And that shift is deadly, because it turns identity into inventory. The brain begins associating cosmetic upgrades with emotional safety. It's not about vanity. It's about control over something in a world that feels uncontrollable. We live in an era where celebrities age backward. Their faces don't change, they reboot. The public praises their discipline, not realizing it's surgical engineering. And every red carpet photo becomes a silent advertisement for impossible standards. Ordinary people compare their reality to celebrity illusions. A filter hides pores, a facelift hides years, and a publicist hides the truth. Even worse, many influencers deny it. They say, it's just contour, or a skincare routine. That denial fuels the illusion, and makes millions of followers feel inadequate. It's psychological warfare disguised as beauty tips. The rise of Snapchat dysmorphia, people bringing filtered photos to surgeons, shows how technology rewired self-perception. We're no longer chasing human beauty. We're chasing digital fantasy. The screen has replaced the mirror, and the algorithm became the new god of beauty. The cosmetic industry sells more than procedures. It sells purpose. It tells you that happiness comes in installments, with a recovery period and a prescription for validation. Billions are spent annually convincing us that the natural process of aging is a disease, that being human is somehow defective. But here's the truth. Perfection is profitable because it's unreachable. If you ever truly felt content, the market would collapse. So they keep moving the goalpost. Yesterday it was smooth skin, today it's harmonized symmetry. And every influencer who promotes it becomes a salesperson with a ring light. Confidence is no longer free. It's a subscription. Think about it. We now have memberships for maintenance, lashes, nails, injectables. We've built an entire economy around staying camera ready. But who are we really ready for? When the surgery table becomes your therapist's couch, the problem isn't your face, it's the system. Because a society that profits from your insecurity will never teach you to love yourself. So how do you know when enhancement turns into addiction? It starts when satisfaction disappears. You no longer see improvements, only flaws. You start chasing compliments, but they never feel enough. You feel anxious when you can't schedule your next appointment. You compare yourself to old photos and panic when you look different. You tell yourself, it's just maintenance, even when your bank account says otherwise. And deep down, you're afraid that stopping means losing your worth. That's not self-care anymore. That's self-punishment in disguise. Addiction doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers in perfectly curated selfies. And until you listen, the mirror will always demand more. Let's talk about what plastic surgery addiction really costs. Beyond money, it costs connection. When you constantly alter your face, people stop recognizing you, not just physically but emotionally, because they don't know who they're talking to anymore. You become a shapeshifter in your own story, always editing the protagonist. And that disconnect eats away at relationships, intimacy, and authenticity. You start avoiding cameras that don't have filters. You stop showing up in moments that aren't aesthetic. The addiction steals time too. Endless consultations, recoveries, touch-ups. Moments that could have been lived get spent under anesthesia. And when you finally pause, you realize that while your face changed, your emptiness didn't. That's the cruel paradox. External perfection rarely fixes internal pain. Recovery starts with awareness, acknowledging that your worth isn't conditional. You don't need to earn beauty points to deserve peace. Therapists who specialize in BDD recommend mindfulness before modification. Ask yourself, what feeling am I really chasing? Is it confidence? Approval? Control? If it's anything that fades when no one's watching, it's not healing, it's hiding. Healing looks different. It's uncomfortable, slow, and doesn't trend on TikTok. It's learning to sit with your reflection without judgment. It's realizing your skin carries stories, not shame. And sometimes, it's walking away from the mirror and doing something that reminds you you're alive, not just attractive. If you've ever looked in the mirror and felt unworthy, remember this. You weren't born to compete with perfection. You were born to create it from the inside out. Slowly, the world is changing. A new generation is beginning to reject the cycle. Influencers are showing their scars, their acne, their aging. They're saying, this is me, unfiltered, unedited, unapologetic. And something powerful happens when authenticity becomes contagious. Others begin to heal too. Because the cure for self-hate is community. When we share our stories, we break the illusion that we're alone. Maybe someday, before and after photos won't be about surgery, they'll be about healing. About the journey from self-rejection to self-respect. The real you. So before you book the next appointment, pause. Take a long, honest look at yourself, not with your eyes, but with your heart. That person in the mirror has survived pain, judgment, heartbreak, and still stands. That's not imperfection, that's proof of life. The goal was never to look perfect. The goal was to feel real. You don't need a new face to start over. You just need to forgive the one you already have. If this message resonated, share it with someone who's struggling to see their own worth. Because maybe together, we can start a new trend, one that doesn't require surgery, just self-love. Your beauty was never broken. It was just waiting for you to stop running from it.